Hello there, my beauties. How's everyone doing? Feels like it's been a while since I've been here, so let's get recording. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody on this beautiful day? I live in Peacehaven in the south of the UK, and it is very sunny, very beautiful, and I have been repotting all of my plants today. So I'm very excited to share with you this new Earth energy update, which is specifically for StarSeeds, Empaths, Lightworkers, highly sensitive people, those of us who know we're here to help with the ascension of humanity, to understand what's going on in the collective right now, and to prepare for the full moon that is coming on Thursday this coming week. In the UK, it's the 23rd at, I think it's 2:54. I was looking up. It's in the afternoon. So I am going to be hosting an event for those of you who would like an activation and a healing and a resistance clearing opportunity to make the most of these current energies. Because this full moon is all about preparing for a joyride, aligning with the joyride. And you might think I'm completely bonkers when you look at what's going on the world stage, but actually I'm not, and I will explain why in a moment. Now, if you're new to me, I am RozyGlow. I'm delighted to be here with you. I am known as being a channel of divine grace, which is the power of revelation, those moments when you hear something and go, oh my goodness, yes. And suddenly something gets activated. You see things in a different way and you can never unsee them again. And this is what we're doing. We're pulling away all the layers of delusion and illusion that we've been programmed with. And this is the primary part of my work as a psychic soul coach, as a mentor, a multidimensional yoga teacher, mentor, and coach. And I really work with those who are ready to lead the way in co-creating the new earth paradigm. Perhaps you're the architects of the new earth, so you have the vision that you are co-creating through your creativity and your leadership. Maybe you're in the entertainment industry. Maybe you are an influencer. You're a way shower, you're someone who's a public figure using fame with conscious intention to help support the ascension of humanity. And you're intending to come from your highest self rather than your wounding, because I am seeing so many celebrity activists at the moment doing their very best to help bring change to this world. But unfortunately, what's happening is they're coming from a place inside of them that means the battle is never going to end. And this is who I'm here for. I'm here for those of you who are tired of feeling like the battle will never be won, who are tired of fighting, tired of constantly being sick, being bombarded with constant abuse, whether it is verbal, whether it is physical, whether it is psychic, whether you know it's happening or not. Yes, there's loads going on from a multidimensional perspective, and I will unpack that. I'm also here for those of you who are the healers, the therapists, the coaches, the way showers that are supporting those on this earth that recognize that there is trauma to be overcome, to overcome it, and then to also prevent it. So our future generations don't have to keep going through the story we go through as starseeds, to remember who we are and to remember our mastery. And for those of you who don't feel like you fit in either of those categories, but you know you're here to help herald in the new age, hey, this is why YouTube exists. This is why we're here. This is why there are opportunities to join me for free activations and free events like the New Moon Masterclass that I've actually posted on my YouTube channel. So it will be the end credit of this video, just so that you can make sure you prepare for the upcoming full moon. And essentially, what it's all about is really allowing you to understand that the frequency of wealth and the frequency of sacred union, which was the invitation that came with the new moon in Taurus, really is a frequency we can access by going back in time to before the trauma loop. Now, there are trauma loops that are going on in our own ancestral bloodlines. There are trauma loops that keep us stuck in our heads, repeating again and again, events that were just horrendous that we haven't yet overcome. Maybe they were personally experienced. Maybe there's something that we inherited from our ancestors. Maybe we've come in with a soul memory. But there are also trauma loops that go on collectively. The collective subconscious is what is getting an upgrade at the moment. And as we come into the energy of this full moon in Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. And by the way, I'm not an astrologer. I work with new moon and full moon energies to support the shifts that I'm here to support as a spokesperson for the Star Peace Collective, which is also known as the Intergalactic Super Federation. And what we do, my friends, is we take these energies and we make the best possible creation we can out of whatever energies are going on, and we clear up resistance to them. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And essentially, I feel what's important for us to remember is it's not just humanity as a collective and also individually that's experiencing these trauma loops we get stuck in, but the land also holds this memory. So I've recently really been enjoying Jeremy Clarkson's series 3 of The Farm that he is actually trying to run as well as he can, despite having lots and lots of resistance, because once upon a time he wasn't as conscious and he wasn't as aware and he was a bit of a prat, as most of us are as we are growing in consciousness. And so he got people's backs up in his local community. And as a result of that, they haven't been very receptive to his shifts and change. But what he is doing to bring awareness to the mass populace, the mainstream pop culture, so just how hard it is to grow food organically, just how hard it is to grow food in a regenerative and a sustainable way, just how much hard work goes in, even if you are a meat eater and you are rearing stock to be able to then consume later as food. Like, there is such an interesting and heartwarming story to all of it that I highly recommend you do check it out, especially if you have a strong opinion on the negative around this Jeremy Clarkson, because you can't help but like him. He's a lovable rogue as you get through this, and there's a good reason for that. Oh, my sparkly or golds are coming out. Now, there's more to this as well. So I'm going to say right now that the opinions that I am expressing are my own opinions, and you can take them with a pinch of salt. You can take them as divine truth. You can, be a little bit more skeptical about it. That's absolutely fine. In case you missed the memo, I'm also the founder of the Star Peace Movement, and you can find out all about that if you head over to starpeaceconsciousness.com. And I please recommend that you do, and you also do sign the manifesto and join the mailing list, because I'm intending to offer up a global meditation for all of us who are here to support the ascension and hold the highest vibration in terms of consciousness for humanity and our planet in August, on the 8th of the 8th, 2024, as we hit the 888 Lionsgate, which I feel like I've been talking about forever. Now, let's come back to what's going on now. I have been seeing quite a lot of YouTubers and others who are sort of giving energy updates talk about this two-world split and the fact that, there is a very big sort of war going on in the non-physical world between the helpful extraterrestrials and the nefarious ETs, which we'll call aliens. And if you haven't actually read this book yet, please do. It's absolutely brilliant. Not only will you read it and go, oh, I'm not on my own, but also you will read it, have a real laugh and a giggle, and realize we're not meant to take it all too seriously, because actually we're here co-creating our reality. Every one of us is the creator. Every one of us is the creation. Every one of us is the divine. Every one of us is source, and every one of us is the being having the experience. So it is multidimensional. It is complex, and essentially epigenetics and quantum physics go hand in hand. And this is what I teach. So when I work with people, I take them through a massive deep dive, deprogramming and reprogramming of their inherited trauma stories, their inherited conditioning that keeps them locked into mindsets of lack and limitation. And I hold your hand deeply through it, whether we do this as group work or one-to-one, depending where you are on your journey and who you are and what you need. And once you get through the other side, I support you to hold that new frequency and that new perception, if you like, because perception is reality. Imagination is reality, because what we conceive of, what we can imagine is possible, we can create. And that goes from the nuclear bomb all the way through to a paradise earth where peace reigns supreme, and we no longer see war as the answer to conflict. Now, I'm here for that. I am here to support that shift. And very recently, I was blessed to have the opportunity to interview Dr. Bruce Lipton. And if you haven't yet checked this guy out, he is like the ultimate badass of epigenetics. He wrote several books, including this one here, The Honeymoon Effect, which completely changed my life, got me on a new trajectory from being a yoga teacher to being an emotional mental detox coach, and later a multidimensional coach, and now a channel and all the other things I do. And when I mentioned ET 101, I first read this when I was 24, right? Someone lent it to me, I gave it back. And then I went through this whole process of reprogramming at 34 and 35. And I remembered this book and I found it. And I was like, oh my goodness, my teacher, Susanna Kennedy, has been teaching me all of this stuff in here through what she was actually sharing with me, which was coming through from her star constellation connections as well. So, when we're ready to hear something again, when we're ready to bring it into our lives and to embed it, that's when it shows up in our lives. So please do pay attention to the signs of what's going on around you. Now, what is going on? So let's come back to this idea that there is this war going on. There is this non-physical battle going on. It's going on in our brains. So it's going on inside of us. Which voice do we listen to? The one that says, oh, you're rubbish, you'll never be able to get it done. Whatever it is that you're expecting to be able to achieve, you're going to fail. Or the voice that is the cheerleader in us that says, you know what, you're amazing, you've got this, you will triumph. There's no such thing as failure. Everything that you experience is going to teach you how to be able to receive that very thing that you want. And not just to receive it, but actually to then be able to maintain it and regenerate from it. And that's where I come in. That's where my passion lies. And that's why I offered the free masterclass that I did with this last new moon, because I wanted to reactivate in everybody this awareness that presently we're being given the invitation to dream a whole new reality into being. The essential thing is to have the discipline to unplug from what looks like the drama that's playing out in the collective. And please don't believe that I'm not aware of the fact that people are in intense suffering, not just people, but the planet and also animals on our planet. But what I'm saying is it's so easy to get caught up in the suffering of others rather than to remember that what we're here to do is to hold our own energy as sovereign, to reclaim our energy as sovereign, to learn how to stop being manipulated by the forces that like to control us through fear in order to be able to continue to feed off our fear, because that's what greed is. It's lack consciousness feeding off other people's lack of consciousness and fear and doubt and all the other limiting emotions such as judgment, guilt, blame, and shame. All of these are under the microscope presently, and they are what limit StarSeeds, Lightworkers, Empaths, and highly sensitive people the most, because we get so caught up in what's right and what's wrong, who's right and who's wrong. Just drop it. It doesn't matter. Okay, I know that is all going on. There's a lot going on in the 3D physical reality. There's a lot going on in the realm of the mind that is battle orientated. But guess what? If you take a quantum leap up and out, if you decide to step out of the fray, out of the battle, take a step up, take a step back, and enjoy a bird's eye view, you will then see that there is the time before the fall. There is the time before the trauma. And that's what I want to get everybody connected to and really amplifying with this full moon in Sagittarius. Why? Because once upon a time in our ancestry, in our DNA, physical, because we are not just the survivors, we're the winners. We are the humans that are here despite whatever else has happened in all of time, since the start of time, when humans walked the earth on any way, shape, or form, however it was that we were, however we showed up. Have we been spliced with other extraterrestrial races and consciousness? I think so. I believe so. You take it as you like. But what I did actually share in the masterclass was how the Lemurian ancient race was actually integrated with humanity through the Lemurian goddesses, who were the feminines that came from Atlantis, sorry, not from Atlantis, from the Pleiadian constellation, and mated with the humans, the male humans on this planet. And this started the ascension of humanity through the feminine, of course. So again, if you've seen my work, you'll know that I'm not talking here about the battle between the feminine and the masculine. It's so important we recognize that there are strengths in the feminine and the masculine that want to be unified and resolved. Pregnancy, birth, conception, early life nurturing all play such a huge part in whether we are wired to survive or thrive. And I'm here on a mission to share, as a result of all of the work that I've been doing since really I started this journey when I was 14 years old, and I had my first rebirthing experience with a wonderful Senawayfa Sefo when I lived in Singapore. Hey, Senawayfa. And I went through the whole process of what it meant to go into rebirthing. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But what it brought me to was being on my spiritual path from very early on in my life. I'm now 45. So it's been a good 30 years of really working with this energy and developing it and developing myself as a conscious being, as an empath, as a starseed, as a light worker, as a indigo child, as a visionary, as an someone who is clairsentient, claircognizant, and also really to recognize my healing skills, to recognize my capacity to be able to see through the illusion and delusion and to support others to do the same. Because from about the age of 4, I remember looking around going, does that make sense? What am I here for? So let's come back to Joy. Now, tell me what's been going on for you, because if we are to overcome this concept of battle, if we are to overcome this constant, it seems like, exchange between good and evil, we have to kind of do this leap into the time before the fall, into the time when there was integration. Now, I have recently, in the last week or so, been experiencing a lot of nightmares, and I'd like to know if you have been too. I've been calling out in my sleep. I felt pinned down. I felt like I've been lifted out of my body. And this is the kind of thing that could really, really scare some people. But guess what that has meant? Cleanse the house, call in my angels and guides, really tap into my highest self-consciousness, be very, very conscious about moving beyond the head into creating safety in the body and calling in the highest consciousness, remembering that nothing has power over me unless I give the power to it. And that's the message for you as well, because for us to overcome this duality battle, if you like, which is the dregs of the old age of Pisces and also the patriarchy, and to take this quantum leap, flip, hop, skip, and a jump, however you want to call it, into the age of uniarchy and unity consciousness, it requires us to raise our frequency to joy. Joy and peace hold the same frequency. So in being able to do that, it's about asking the question, what brings me joy? Okay, how do I experience joy? What is it that helps me connect to joy? Is it breath work? Is it my essential oils? Is it my crystals? Is it getting up early and going for a walk? Is it stroking my cat or doing something good for another person? Is it writing in my journal and channeling my guides? Whatever it is that's true for you, do more of it. That's the key, all right? So what else is really important here is to recognize that, yeah, there is a two-world split going on. There's more than a two-world split going on. There's a multi-dimensional world split going on. But if we want to move beyond the split and stop talking about the problem and be part of the solution, we have to envisage what happens beyond this. So there have been some interesting things in the headlines, haven't there? There's been a very, very sad story of what happened with the Slovakian I'm not even going to say too much, but the shooting, and obviously the others are involved and what's going on with that. And what we're seeing is really there is this covert and overt style of how can I put it? Response to not towing the line. And I ain't going to go any further than that. But what I am going to say is when I was 15 years old, I had the second lead in a play by Bertolt Brecht called Arturo Ui. And it was about the rise of Hitler. And I played Ernesto Roma in the actual play. Now, I didn't, I knew about history and what actually I was taught at school, etc. But what we really learned in this play is just how easy it is to control others through persuasion, coercion, fear, threats. You get it. You know what I'm talking about. And what I'd encourage you to do if you haven't done it yet is actually watch the film Amsterdam, because that beautifully explains what's been going on the global stage for so blinking long. I mean, this has been going on for so many generations that people think this is normal, this is reality, this is the world that we're going to live in forever. And this is where, when I'm premenstrual, I have to admit, I lose my patience. And I'm like, really? Can you not see through this? Really? You're arguing for this? Really? You're insisting this is the only way it can be? These are really highly traumatized adults that are running the world. They have so many unmet needs themselves that they're so greedy. I've been listening to Carol Vorderman talking on TikTok about just how corrupt our current UK government is in terms of how much money has been gone, how much is not being accounted for in the mainstream media. And you know what? I don't need to speak for her. You can go and check it out. Check out Carol Vorderman on TikTok. See what she's actually got to say, because for those who want to see it, it's everywhere. Russell Brand's talking beautifully. You've got Stephen Bartlett speaking beautifully as well and sharing with so many other guests what's going on in this world. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being the heart-centered masculine that are actually showing up now and starting to really use your power and influence for the highest good, to really raise the consciousness of humanity and see that there are other ways. And Carol, you're badass. I also want to shout out to the lovely, what's her name now? I sent her a message yesterday. Pam Gregory, who's an amazing astrologer who you can check out. And she, like me, is talking a lot about group meditation, just how important it is. So is the lovely Bruce Lipton. And you can check out the onefield.com on YouTube. I think Greg Braden's got it on his channel. I think probably you also have it on Bruce Lipton's channel as well, but it's a brilliant movie that explains how everything is connected. And this is all based on Lynn McTaggart's intention setting experiments, which have been scientifically proven in terms of how when we set intention and when we powerfully come together with a common intention, it affects those around the world without being physically connected. And this is it. We are so powerful. This is the message I want to give you. Sagittarius, planet of expansion. Sorry, it's like ruled by Jupiter, planet of expansion. It's like, it's like, what do you feel is possible? What do you imagine is possible? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do with this? Right? Because when we can start to shush our mouths about the problem and start to use it as the springboard for the solution, we start talking about the solution, the world we want to see, the world we want to energize, start to look for evidence of it everywhere. I'm really seeing it in the entertainment industry. Guess what? What you focus on grows. It's awesome. So focus on what you want to see. And please remember, let's let go of this ideal of doing everything on a friggin' shoestring budget. I'm sorry, but I'm really fed up of that term, and I really would like to love it up, because all the good people I know in this world struggle with the idea that wealth is a good thing, that having a plentiful supply is a good thing. And there's a lot of shame around money. And this is the other side of what's going on with this. I am aligning with a joy ride. I am a joy magnet. These are the frequencies we're going to be working with the full moon on Thursday, by the way, is to clear the shame around having a plentiful supply, around having more. Can you not be more generous when you have the energy, you have the time, you have the resource, you have the goodwill, you have the contacts, you have the money. Yeah, you have the ability to not just reach out and help someone, but actually to support them to then thrive. I want to get everybody in that place. And, you know, money seems to be an icky subject for a lot of people, especially, you know, in the coaching world. I really want to bring this to light. And also for me, as I've up leveled and you know, started to offer work at different pricing points, really, it's been a challenge for people. I've been like, oh, who's she? Who does she think she is? What's she doing? You know, charging that kind of money. I value my energy. All right. I know that I'm best off working with the few who influence the many. And I need a lot of time personally to nurture and nourish myself. We all do, so that I can deliver at the highest level. I also show up here and I do free stuff. I also go in and I talk with non-profit organizations, with charities, with grassroots efforts about raising their consciousness around lack and poverty consciousness. Because if we ourselves are struggling and we are trying to help others, how well is that going to go? We've got a whole era of that, the era of the age of Pisces, and I want to shake everyone out of it. Doesn't mean that we worship money, okay? It just means that we recognize it can do so much good, just like it can do a lot of not very pleasant things too. So why don't we swing the balance of power? If you're with me, thank you for the like, thank you for the subscribe, thank you for the share, because this is really important. Now, let's actually move on. What are we actually going to be doing on Thursday? Well, let me just read to you very quickly the notes I did make about all of this. So as I said, personally, I've been feeling exhausted, okay, for weeks, all right, feeling really flat. It's like the joy being taken out of me, it's almost felt like being bombarded with the kind of messaging in the collective that drops my own frequency. So I've had to work harder at rooting down to rise up and to bring in the energy. Like I'm out of batteries. If this has been happening for you, let me know. Have you felt like you're under some form of psychic attack? Have you been having nightmares? Have you been having tough time in your dream state? You know, we've had all of this aurora borealis stuff going on in the UK, and then there's been some kind of connection with what's going on with CERN as well in terms of testing that's been happening. We've had the biggest solar flares. You know, I'm not here to say this means this. I'm just curious about how everything is connected and what meaning we attribute to things. So please do share your comments. Remember that sacred union and wealth are both a frequency shift. Abundance is a choice. It's a mindset. It's something we tune into. And in order for us to be able to stick at that new frequency, all of our limiting beliefs around lack and around, you know, anything to do with prosperity, wealth, plentiful supply, the limiting beliefs have to come up. So with new moons, we plant seeds like I did with the new moon masterclass and started to talk more about taking the very best of Atlantis, the very best of Lemuria as the highest element of the divine masculine and divine feminine, and to remember that these are elements of our consciousness we can reaccess through our DNA and through our soul memories. And now as we come into this full moon, the invitation is to join me for a small fee on Thursday. Now the UK time is BST 8 p.m. That means it's 3 p.m. Eastern time. It is 1 p.m. Mountain Time, the US, and 12 noon Pacific Time. Wherever else you are in the world, please check it out. If you want to join me live, you go to rozyglow.com/events and you will see there is a link there to join. As I said, it's £22.22. What you get is you get a whole hour with me where I'm going to be taking you through a process where we get activated with the energies of this Sagittarian full moon, the Jupiter expansion energy and frequency, and we set our intentions through the I am statements that we then choose to embody. And then I take you through an alchemical process that includes reverse engineering, so using our imagination to imagine our personal and collective chosen reality together. I guide you through it. It's a guided visualization. And then I take you through a process of clearing up resistance from the physical, etheric, emotional, mental, and astral bodies, from all the layers of our cellular, our physical structure, and our energetic structure. And then we set the new frequency. I also give you time for personal Q&A with me, yours truly. So if you've got any questions, you enter into a private Zoom room with me. So we are interacting. This is a private space. And I really do want to start including more and more of you and inviting you to please take part, because the global meditations that we can offer to the world are going to be so much more potent if we ourselves are in a more integrated, resolved, and higher frequency state. Okay, this is why the Lionsgate retreat and container also got created. I'm going to share with you exactly what's going with that, because that's been very interesting too. Now, I was recently in Portugal and I was very blessed to be able to to enter into a joy portal, which very few people know where this is in the Algarve, but I was blessed and invited and shown where to go. And I have got a rock with the frequency of the joy codes from there that I will be transmitting on Thursday. And you know, if 2222 is not available to you, there is an 1111 option as well. So I want to make this as accessible to as many of you as possible to attend. If you want to show up, then please do remember that 50% of everything that comes in goes to grassroots efforts. And so far, we've been able to support efforts with doulas without borders. They're going and they're supporting war-torn areas. We've been supporting homeless shelters. We've been supporting families that are trying to get out of Gaza. We've been supporting all sorts of wonderful efforts that, you know, I'm happy to share in the groups. I just want you to know that this is actually happening. So what I'd love to know is what's come up for you in preparation for this full moon event that we're going to co-create together. What has been coming up in relation to you seeking to set your frequency to sacred union, which is obviously the highest level of enjoyable relationship you can have with another. It doesn't matter whether you're in the same-sex relationship or not. Ultimately, we all have an inner masculine, an inner feminine, an inner mother, and inner father frequency, an inner yin and an inner yang. And it's about bringing those to their highest frequency, their highest intention, their highest level. And you know what we need to know is what's come up to clear it. So trying to control outcomes, self-doubt, fear of failure, not wanting to reach out, being unclear. I want to remind you all, and I've spent many years in the birthing world, not only educating staff, so midwives and obstetricians, and also training yoga teachers, but also working as a hands-on doula, so supporting women during the birthing process and their partners and their babies. And what I'll say is birth takes time. Okay, if you've been experiencing things any way like I have, you'll birth something new. It's like the new Star Peace logo has just been birthed and it's amazing. We've got new design work for all of this full moon co-creation circle, online co-creation circle works. We want to invite more of you in. And it's like, oh, it's amazing. And then it's like, oh, I've got to sleep, I've got to rest, I can't do anything. So it's all happening. It's happening to support you. It's happening to allow you to actually, you know, have the kind of shifts you want to have in the world. And again, what I want to remind you of is we're rhythmical, cyclical beings, just like nature. I know there are some people out there that seem to live their lives like literally on some kind of conscious autopilot where their whole day is regimented in a certain way and, you know, they go about and they're super efficient living their lives that way. That's great. But the femmes, we're not really like that. Okay, that's not so much the way that we operate. It's much more, is the energy there or isn't it? And conserving energy when we need to, and then putting it out when we need to. So there's no right or wrong here. There's what's best for you right now, what's optimal. What else do I want to say? We need lots of rest and we need to act when we're inspired. Is there anything you feel that you are missing out on presently? Like, is there something you've been wanting to create, but it seemed out of your reach? What is ready to be burned away in your life? What are you done with? What is it that you know you don't want to take forward anymore? And for most of us, it's going to be self-criticism, self-judgment, self-deprecation. This is essential, including self-loathing. And this is where Jupiter, Sagittarius, and this beautiful, expansive joy energy that this full moon is gifting us is so important because it helps us to see ourselves in our best light. There is also the element of dragon energy. Now, this is an Andara crystal I was very blessed to receive when I was in Portugal recently, and this is called the Dragon's Heart. I'll actually put a link in the text box to the lady who has a beautiful online store of this because it is honestly, it's changed my life. The dreams I was having with it under my pillow was bringing for me the fears that were still influencing me and blocking me from being able to fully step forward. And if you consider the Sagittarian energy, it's quite closely linked with the myth or the story of George slaying the dragon. Yeah, St. George slaying the dragon. And you know, dragons have really received a bad rap, but actually, dragons are the gatekeepers of the underworld. And we have to remember there's so much gold in the underworld, in the shadow. We're here to embrace our shadow. We're here to bring light to our shadow, to be curious about it. And for us to have the kind of expansion that we are being offered with the Lionsgate portal that's coming in August, it is an absolute essential prerequisite that we have dug our roots so deep into the earth. We have anchored our tapping root into the core crystal of Mother Gaia and truly, really embedded and worked with the energy of the crystalline core of the earth. And also we have deeply connected and cleansed our connection to the crystalline grid, which is another Pleiadian gift, okay? Not just the Lemurian goddesses, but also the crystalline grid. And this is the thing is, for me, although the Pleiades doesn't show up so strongly in my kind of, it's there as a star family I've worked with. For me, it's the portal I exit this planet from and I go and I do my travels at night. It is the Pleiadian constellation that I go through. So again, that might sound completely crazy to you. It's fine. Take it with a pinch of salt. If you do want to join me on Thursday, as I said, all that's required is you sign up beforehand. Please don't leave it last minute. I can't guarantee I'm going to be able to get you in. I'm not checking my phone when I am going live. All right. So it's really important. If you want to have access to the replay as well, that you sign up, you pay what is available to you to be able to pay, and you show up live if you can, because the transmission is always so much more received in that powerful now moment if you can. But if not, catch it as soon after as you can. I'm purposely doing it at a time that if you wanted to go and be in nature and you had access to mobile data at the time, you could be out in nature looking at the moon and going through the visualization process I'm going to take you through. And as I said, there's something so powerful about when lots of us gather at the same time and go through a same intention process together. This leads me, last thing I'm going to talk about is Lionsgate. Now, I was impulsed last Lionsgate to start reminding everybody and preparing people for this year's Lionsgate. I'm personally born on the 12th of August, which is the end of the Lionsgate, when you get the, I think it's the Perseus meteorite shower comes through, so you get all these lovely shooting stars. What a gift for my birthday, right? I was due on the 8th, which is when this portal opens. So every year, 8th to 12th of August, we have this beautiful portal, which is Lionsgate, when Sirius and Orion line up with our planet, our sun, and we get this massive cosmic download of beautiful blessings. Well, this year it just happens to be 1,000-fold increase in the downpour of blessings. So what I've been saying in my previous videos is how important it is for us to have energetically expanded our container to receive these blessings. So every time you feel like you're being stretched or squeezed presently, it is to squeeze out something that isn't serving your highest path, so you can then stretch and expand to the place, to the version of you that can actually show up as your highest self on this planet today and receive the codes, which are really the activations in your DNA and your higher self-consciousness to fulfill your soul mission. Now, what I was guided to do, if you know my work, you'll know, yes, I do one-off sessions. And if you're interested, again, check out the text box because there'll be a link there on the events page and my coaching page. You can see on RozyGlow the different offerings I have. So if you just want a quick win, there is that option. But typically I work deeply with people longer term because I know what it's like to have a massive activation and then to not know what to do with it. Okay. Because if you've gone and you've done plant medicine, gone and had an amazing experience, your consciousness has opened up and you've received direct messages, you then need to integrate them into your life. And the world around us is still operating, if you like, the hologram, the illusionary hologram. It's compelling because so many people are still bought into it. is still a lack, a hologram. It's a fear-based hologram. So until that fully shifts, it's very difficult for us presently to hold the frequency of the new earth and to keep holding it, which is why we need to gather with others of like soul, like mind, like frequency, and to cooperate, communicate, coordinate, co-create together the 13 C's of the new earth. In fact, I'm going to read them all out to you. The 13 C's for co-creating the new earth, paradise earth, are collaboration, creativity, consciousness, connection, communication, compassion, cooperation, courage, confidence, celebration, consideration, clarity, and co-creation. And this is one of the things that I take my new earth leaders through. This is one of the things that I'm offering as a result of the Lionsgate transformational nurture container and the in-person retreat. You know what? Been really, really challenging to bring the people together that are meant to be together. I was told 14. At the moment, got about 4, I think, 5 that are committed to coming along. And I'm very curious as to the why. Is it that it's off-putting, that it's too long? It's a 3-month container. It's a 3-day retreat. So in-person retreat is 3 nights. But the container is holding you in a container of support. That means you've got access to me through voice message for 3 months. There's some online connections that we have that are seeded throughout a 3-month period. But like, what's the block? What is it? Now, one thing I've learned when you're co-creating in 5D frequencies to always trust the impulses you've been given, because there's a voice in my head going, well, why were you asked to create that if that's not meant to be, if it's not meant to come about? The more I've been digging, the more I've been researching, the more I've been asking questions, the more I've been seeing that there are lots of other things at play. And yeah, you could argue there's as much opposition to what I'm intending to do as there is desire for it. So what am I going to feed? Am I going to keep talking about the 49 to 51% shift and how there really is only a 1% difference between which side wins? Or am I going to up my consciousness to see 55, 60, 65, 70% on the side that I would like to energize, and the whole ultimately holding everything in balance, because we need both sides. We need the polarity to hold the fabric of the universe, if you like, of creation together presently. But do not be fooled. Do not believe for 1 second that the old world is going to be reigning supreme, because the structures of the new world are all around. The scaffolding's gone up, the new buildings are being built. They're crystalline, so people don't even see them. The old buildings are starting to crumble. Okay, so what I'd love you to do is, if you're hearing me and you're curious about this Lionsgate thing, North Wales is where I was called to bring everybody, and there's good reason, and I've made other videos about it. I'm going to ask you to check out the link and get in touch with me and let me know what's calling you to it. If there's something putting you off, let me know what it is. And let's just see what this is really about, because I want to support those who really feel the call to be there, It's very important. The number 144 is very significant. In the end, I believe there'll be 14 of us there, right? And we're going to be holding the pillars of frequency for everyone else who's going to join us in the collective co-creation. And there is information about that is all on the page that is linked on the text box that I'll show you. Yeah, that I'll put in after this video is finished. Right. I better go. It's quite a long energy update in the end. And I would love to hear your comments. I would love to hear your feedback on all of this. Okay. I would love to hear what's going on for you and what you perceive, because joy is where it's at. And that's what we're going to be activating together. And this online co-creators circle is all about us coming together to co-create together. So once a month with the full moon, that's what I do. The link is below. It's this Thursday. Remember to sign up ASAP, and please do also check out the free masterclass, as I mentioned, which was about the previous new moon in Taurus, to prepare you from all of this. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being a part of this. Check out starpeaceconsciousness.com. Check out the Lionsgate retreat. Have an amazing few days. Enjoy the sun. I love you. You're amazing. Take care for now. And thanks again for the subscribes and the likes and the loves.